LGBTQ plus marriage equality, Brittany Zarmak. Imagine spending years with someone you love, building life together and sharing dreams, only to find obstacles in celebrating that love in the same manner as other people. This is very much how many LGBTQ plus couples had to live until recently, in many respects, still do. LGBTQ relates to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, and or those questioning their gender or sexual orientation. Today, I am going to explore the importance of marriage equality to LGBTQ plus persons and their struggle for acceptance and respect. It's not a struggle just about legal entitlement, but about dignity, respect, and a basic human right to love freely. While the Obergefell v. Hodges Supreme Court ruling in 2015 legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states, complete social acceptance remains a goal to this day that has not been fully realized. Over the course of our time together, I will be guiding you through the history that led to marriage equality, how lasting ripples are still affecting the LGBTQ plus communities on cultural levels today, and what work is still to be done in giving this right full affirmation within our societies. The United States has come a long way with LGBTQ plus rights, but it has taken truly a long path to achieve marriage equality. Prior to Obergefell, various states had bans on same-sex marriage, if not usually justified under tradition, recognizing only heterosexual relationships, man and woman. Obergefell was monumental. It said that love and commitment deserve equal protection, no matter the gender. It was quite groundbreaking, but it wasn't the end of the fight. Here, we see the timeline of marriage history in the United States. In 1753, the Clandestine Marriage Act, which was the first time the state regulated marriage. 1836, Marriage Act introduces civil marriages, which is marriage becomes a civil institution as well as a religious one. 1949, the Marriage Act took place, which is the main piece of legislation regarding marriage. 2004, we had the Civil Partnership Act, which is the first legally recognized relationship for same-sex couple. December 2011, law changed to allow same-sex couples to register their civil partnership on a religious premises on permissive basis. From March 15, 2012 to June 14th, public consultation on proposals to enable same-sex couples to marry happened. December 2012, government response to consultation published announcing commitment to legislate to enable same-sex couples to marry in civil ceremonies to enable those religious organizations that wish to conduct same-sex marriage ceremonies to do so only on a voluntary basis. January 2013, same-sex couples marriage bill was introduced to Parliament. Of July 2013, Same-Sex Couples Marriage Act becomes law, making equal marriage legal. By the summer of 2014, the first same-sex marriage wedding took place. While the ruling was done, it is not yet taken up completely countrywide. Some conservative fractions have even questioned its legitimacy. And the LGBTQ plus individual has yet a lot of stigma to be faced among many circles. According to a 2023 survey from the Pew Research Center, support for LGBTQ plus protections, which includes protection in marriage, is slightly lower. A sign that while legal acceptance may have been reached, social acceptance is still fragile. This underlines the critical need for continual awareness, advocacy, and public education. Marriage equality extends beyond legality into the psychological landscape. To many in the LGBTQ plus community, the social acknowledgement of their relationships has deep effects on their mental health and sense of well-being. Research has shown that LGBTQ plus youth living within an accepting community with marriage equality have lower rates of depression, anxiety, and even suicide attempts. By affirming LGBTQ plus relationships, we create a space where they are safe, valued, and worthy. The Pew Research Center reports that communities more accepting of marriage equality also tend to have lower instances of mental health struggles among LGBTQ plus youth. It can be associated with the fact that marriage equality is a strong message of acceptance that gives hope and brings down stigma. The chart on the left seen here represents gay marriage by state in the United States. Vermont recording the highest at 1.81%. And on the right is a questionnaire asking, do you think marriages between same-sex couples should or should not be recognized by law as valid with the same rights as traditional marriages? And we see a spike in 2011 with growing percentage rates towards should be valid and decreasing rates of should not be valid, showing a greater social acceptance but far away from 100% acceptance. Picture a young couple in a multi-year relationship, Sarah and Emily, both females. They want to get married, stand in front of their friends and family, and proclaim their love, just like any other couple. A decade ago, this would have been legally impossible. Today, they could get married, but remaining social stigma means their love is not fully accepted in every community. Although the decision regarding Obergefell was a great move on the part of legal circles, public support is really scattered, especially across some parts of the country. In the last couple of years, issues of LGBTQ+ have been brought again onto the surface, many times received with conservative opposition due to cultural or religious justification. This is hence a really complex landscape wherein one gets legal rights, yet social acceptance still lags behind. In a story from the New York Times, it was unveiled that even with legal developments around LGBTQ+, they tend to feel quite far from welcoming and excluded in classic celebrations. For example, there are places that deny due to personal beliefs. Same-sex couples permission to hold the wedding there, against the law. This alone excludes the LGBTQ+ community, even in places where they should not be marginalized. In this chart on the screen, we see a yearly update on gay marriage laws in the United States from the Pew Research Center. That should continue to grow and not be reversed as some may try. We see New England growing each year since 2003 to 2013, over a 10-year span, spreading to the West Coast in around 2014, and then in 2015, after Obergefell, all states have the same equal laws. A 2023 report in The Advocate warns that some conservative groups aim to re-examine and even reverse protections for LGBTQ+ individuals. Of the many planned agendas from the right-leaning activists, there is something called Project 2025. It calls for a reduction in the rights of LGBTQ+ citizens, a harsh reality check on one important way often progress isn't permanent. Marriage equality isn't about personal rights, but rather something more. Allowing same-sex marriages within a society speaks volumes with the message of valued love stories. For the LGBTQ+ person, being allowed to marry anyone they choose adds to feelings of inclusion and belonging, not just in their personal life, but in their greater communities. Research has established that lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people who have feel accepted within their communities, have higher self-esteem and well-being. The simple fact of being able to marry confident that your community joyfully and publicly validates your bond, then that will affirm you within your community. This, on the screen, is a visual representation of countries that allow same-sex marriage and the timeline behind that. The US is more acceptable than the rest of the nation, but much work still has to be done for the community to feel accepted in any place they would like to go in the world. Imagine Ethan, who is a transgender man in love and wanting to tie the knot and get married. For him, marriage isn't just a rite of passage, but it acknowledges his existence, that he is good enough, that his love is as good as anyone else's. Even Ethan would be sometimes barred from being accepted in most states. It underlines the idea of why marriage equality is so essential for improving belonging and reducing isolation within the LGBTQ+ communities. Marriage equality is more than a license. It is about dignity, acceptance, and freedom to love openly. We've come a long way, but complete equality for members of the LGBTQ+ community takes ongoing labor, especially toward the dissolving of social issues and protections of gains earned. Recently, in December 2022, President Joe Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act into law, which provided significant federal protections for same-sex and interracial marriages. This landmark legislation ensures that same-sex marriages are recognized by the federal government, even if individual states were to pass laws attempting to limit such recognition. The law also repeals the Defense of Marriage Act, which had defined marriage as a union between one man and one woman. Biden's signing of the bill was a historic moment, marking a major victory for LGBTQ+ rights. This legislation followed concerns that the U.S. Supreme Court might reconsider marriage equality after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. By ensuring these rights into law, the Respect for Marriage Act aims to provide lasting security for same-sex couples, ensuring that their marriages will be recognized no matter where they live. This is a movement to which we can all contribute in some way. You do not have to be an activist to make a change. You can support inclusive policies, educate yourself and others, or be compassionate enough to just listen to the other stories. Supporting LGBTQ+ marriage rights can be done in many simple and impactful ways. First, it's important to stay informed about the history and current status of marriage equality. Sharing what you learned with others helps educate and challenge misconceptions. You can also support LGBTQ+ organizations by donating, volunteering, or attending their events. Contacting your local representatives and voting for candidates who support marriage equality is an important way to influence policy. Additionally, showing visible support as an ally through actions like using inclusive language, wearing pride symbols, and celebrating LGBTQ+ weddings can make a real difference. Attending rallies and signing petitions can help push for a positive change. Supportive actions extend to everyday life by creating inclusive spaces at work, school, and within social circles. Lastly, supporting LGBTQ+ friendly businesses and donating to crowdfunding campaigns for marriage-related needs can provide valuable financial help. Each of these steps shows solidarity and helps promote equal rights for everyone. I hope you learned something, and I hope you could spread awareness to others and see how important this movement is. Thank you.